Hello my loves, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a chilled, chatty, waffly most probably video, but I've been wanting to film it for quite a while now, but I felt like it was only fair to film it when I really feel like my mojo's come back. So with that in mind, this video is going to be about top tips on how to get your mojo back, basically primarily related to weight loss and healthy eating and fitness and just everything that you might have done in the past but you feel like you've hit a wall, or you might have done really well in the past but it's just kind of gone the complete opposite way, because for me that has very much happened. I used to be really good at, I guess, watching what I was eating and doing the things that made me feel better mentally, physically, emotionally and everything like that, and I've definitely gone like that downhill over the last, I'd say, year or so, year and a half, maybe even 2 years, and I finally feel like I've hit a stage in my life where I've got that mojo back, and it's taken me a long while to get there, and that's absolutely fine because it is hard to find that mojo and that spark and that charisma and that fire in your belly to really want to give it your all, and it's completely normal to lose that because we can't be perfect all of the time. Life gets in the way, things happen in life, and sometimes we're just not mentally in it, and I just feel like the tips that I'm going to talk about are personal to me. Also, I have asked on my Instagram for your guys' tips on how you get your mojo back and how you really get back into the swing of things, and I'm going to share a few of those at the end of the video as well, because I feel like everybody's help is appreciated and everybody's got different tips and tricks on how they get back into the swing of things, and if this video helps you then I really hope it does. Sometimes you do just need to hear it from somebody else. You need to put this video on in the background. I'm not going to be showing anything, I'm literally just going to be talking, so I might as well have done this like on a podcast or something, because I'm not going to be showing you guys anything. I'm literally just going to be talking and talking and talking. So this is the kind of video that you can watch when you're cleaning the kitchen, or you're out on a walk, or you're doing something that you don't need your eyes to be watching. If you are interested in hearing some of my personal top tips and what I do to get my mojo back, or to get back into some kind of routine, back into things that make me feel better and benefit me mentally, physically and emotionally, then please just carry on watching. I have made a few notes just because if I don't have some kind of rhythm to follow, then I'll just go into one tip and then into the other, and then it just becomes one big rambly mess. So I've written a few notes down, so if I'm looking down, that is what I'm looking at. But grab yourself a cup of tea, grab yourself a Pepsi Max, grab yourself a glass of water, a glass of wine, whatever time it is near you, and let's get into it. So the first thing for me is when you feel like you need a little bit of a reset or a restart, or you want to try something new because you feel like you've fallen off the bandwagon, or you've gone down in your progress, whether that's like weight loss related, fitness related, self-care, anything to do with bettering yourself. First of all, the most important thing is to not beat yourself up about it. If you beat yourself up about it, and I need to listen to my own advice I'm giving you, because I don't. I beat myself up about it. I get so frustrated and annoyed at myself. In my head, my little poor head, I'm just like, why have you done that? Like, why have you let yourself go? Because that's, again, this is all really abusive language that I give to myself, like in my head, like, why have you done it? Why have you let yourself go? Like, you've got like no excuses like for it, but it just happens. It really does just happen, and you kind of need to not forgive yourself, because that sounds really dramatic, because these things happen. But if you are somebody that struggles with food and binge eating, or you know, just overindulging, and you look to food for comfort, because I most definitely do, like, don't be hard on yourself. Like, life is hard. Like, we all have good days, we all have bad days, we all have really bad like patches in our life and bad stages, and sometimes for a lot of us we resort to food, and that is definitely something I do. I get so much joy and comfort in food, and it's something I always have, and I know it's something I'm always going to have. But there was a level of like indulging, and then just indulging to the next level and just taking it too far, and I'd eat and eat and eat until I just feel so sick, and I could never find that, like, I could never just feel satisfied by eating something. I always, in my head, it's like, what next, what next, what next? And that's something I've struggled with for like my whole life basically, is always like, what's next, what's next? And it just got to a stage where I had essentially fallen out of love with myself, because I had just obviously not cared. I had obviously not set myself any kind of like positive routine or anything. Like normally I would also, I'm gonna say like in this video a lot, so if that annoys you, I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna say and a lot as well, and I'm probably gonna not be looking directly at you, because when I'm talking about something personal or something in a lot of depth, I always look around the room to try and explain it a bit better. So yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd add that in. But yeah, just don't be hard on yourself. That's my top tip, and it's probably the most important tip. Don't be hard on yourself. It happens to all of us. It happens to the best of us. We all sometimes just cannot be bothered. Life gets in the way. But just know that whatever's happened, whether you've put on weight, the weight you've lost before, or whether you just can't even manage a day food optimizing, or you can't even manage a week, or whatever it is personal to you, do not apply pressure to yourself. Do not beat yourself up, because that is the worst thing you can do. If you continuously do that, you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to beat yourself up every single day, and you're never going to leave that kind of like in the past. You're always going to focus on what negative things you feel like you might have done in the past, and you're always going to kind of remember the way it makes you feel, because that's how I felt for like a long period of time. It was just like self-sabotage. I'd feel rubbish, I wouldn't have the motivation, I'd feel lethargic, and it was just like a vicious circle and circle, and I was really fighting so hard with the thoughts in my head, and I was really trying so hard to even do a day on plan, or a day food optimizing, or a day just being mindful of what I was eating. And I was even finding that really, really hard, and that was because I was just applying so much pressure to myself, and I was just expecting me to kind of fall back into what I used to do many years ago. When I first did Slimming World, the weight for me just dropped off straight away, and life was different. I was younger. I guess I was so obsessed with it. I really was. Like, the weight was coming off. I was obviously really liking the weight coming off, and I was feeling so much better mentally, physically and emotionally, and it kind of was just like, that was my life, and that is all my life was Slimming World, which was great, and it is a great plan, hence why I'm still doing it now, to try and get the weight off again. But yeah, I just felt like, why can't I just flip back to what I used to do when I was younger? Like, why am I finding it so difficult? Like, why is even one day difficult when I used to be able to manage like months and months? And I feel like back then when I was doing Slimming World, I was doing it in a way which wasn't great, because I was kind of doing it where I didn't really want to tap into my sins, which is stupid because they are there to have, and you feel so restricted and like you're on a diet if you don't utilize them. And I was kind of like saying no to social plans because I was worried about, well, what am I going to be able to eat? It's just easier not to go. And for me at the time, yeah, it was great. I got to my goal, but looking back, I probably missed out on quite a lot because I was so like, and it's trying to find that balance of not taking it so obsessively and really restricting yourself on every aspect of life and just doing it ridiculously, to trying to find the balance of, okay, I need to lose this weight by following the plan, but I also want to live as well and not say no to things, because as we all know, life is short. So I was kind of beating myself up at the point that I couldn't just go back to what I used to be able to do without finding it a struggle. And then it was just repeating like in my head, well, why can't you do it? Nothing's changed, nothing's different, the plan's not different. Like, if anything, you're living in your own house, you've got more like accessibility of being able to do it, you're able to go to a group. So I was fighting myself like that for quite a while. But yeah, I just kind of thought, do you know what, I'm not going to get anywhere if I keep picking myself up and if I don't start fresh. So that's my first tip. Just forget what's happened. If you want to start fresh, if you want to start something new, and if you're listening to this video now and you feel like maybe today or tomorrow after you've listened to this video it's going to be a fresh start, just forget about everything. Forget about what you lost in the past. Forget about how you looked in the past. Like, just forget about that. That's the past. You can't do anything about it. You're feeling and you're watching this video because you want to better your future. So yeah, goodbye, see you later. We're going to move on to the next tip now. As I was saying, for me, I was kind of beating myself up as the fact that I couldn't just go back to it and like find it easy like I did. So a tip for me, this is like specifically for Slimming World, but any kind of healthy lifestyle change that you do, whether you calorie count, whether you are watching your macros, whether you're on keto, whether you're doing fasting, there's so many different elements when it comes to food and weight loss. So whatever it is you're doing, this tip will apply to you. But just go back to basics, and when I say that, I mean literally treat yourself as a new member again. Like, forget everything else. If you're going to start Slimming World, for example, this video is going to be a lot about Slimming World because that is the plan I do, but you can kind of incorporate it into whatever it is that you personally do. If it is Slimming World, start as a new member again. And you may feel like in your head that you don't need to listen to the new member talk because you know Slimming World like with your eyes closed, which is what I know Slimming World like with my eyes closed. I could talk about Slimming World for hours and hours and days and months and months because I know it that well, because I've been doing it for so many years and it's literally been my life. But sometimes you do just need to sit down with a consultant and be told everything so that you've got a complete refresh. And when you're listening to your consultant and she's telling you everything, you will find something and think, oh, I didn't know that, or oh, I thought it was that, and you've learned something straight away. So straight away you're winning. So from sitting in that Slimming World group, joining as a new member, getting a completely new book, that has made a massive difference to me, by the way. There was no point in me keeping my old book from when I lost all my weight ages ago. There was literally no point, because it was like, yeah, that happened, but that's not where I am now, and I'm on a whole totally new journey now, so I want a fresh book. So said goodbye to all of that progress that I had done, and I just wanted to start fresh. So yeah, definitely go back to basics, go back to group, join as a new member again, get a new book, get a countdown. Like for me, a countdown's massive because you have essentially signed up. Like you've signed up, whether it's a 6-week countdown you get or a 12-week countdown you get, you have signed up and you have committed to the next 6 weeks or 12 weeks of giving it your all to just be a new member again, fall back in love with the plan, try new foods, try new healthy extras, try new sins, and you know that you've paid that money up front, so you know you've committed to go into group for 6 weeks and you can achieve so much in 6 weeks. So get a countdown if you can. If financially paying weekly might be better for you, but if you have got that money up front, I really recommend getting a countdown, because you're basically signing something saying I'm going to be there for the next 6 weeks, and it will just give you that motivation, that pump and that push to know that you're gonna go. You're not gonna want to waste your money by just paying that money and then not turning up for the next 6 weeks. So personally for me, if you've never done a countdown before, I find it beneficial because I've paid that money up front, so I don't want to lose out on that money. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I go to group every week for the next 6 or 12 weeks, depending on which one you get. With going back to basics, it is literally as simple as get a piece of paper or a food plan or a menu plan or whatever it is you have and plan your week. So plan what you're going to have for your breakfast, your lunch and your dinner, and write a shopping list. So what I like to do is I like to get my Princess Planning meal planner, which is in my food diary, and I will plan my meals. Now for me, I don't know if any of you can relate, but I am a kind of person that I like to plan my meals, but sometimes when it's like planned Monday through to Sunday, I might wake up on the Monday and not fancy what I'd put down for breakfast, but I will still look throughout the days of what I've planned to have, and I might just mix and match the days. So it doesn't matter, you don't have to do a food plan, and you don't have to stick to it religiously every single day. On Tuesday I'm going to have Weetabix, ham sandwich and, you know, chili, and you don't fancy it on Tuesday. Just switch it around. It's just there to give you some kind of support and some kind of guidance of what you're going to have that week, because sometimes when we don't have a plan, we can feel overwhelmed and we don't know where to start. So if you just take an hour of your day to plan your meals for the week, once you've planned your meals, go through your fridge, go through your cupboard, because you've probably got the majority of the stuff from doing Slimming World before. Go through your cupboards and see what ingredients it is you need to make those meals that you've planned on your weekly meal plan, and then anything that you need to get from the shop. So it might be like your fresh meats, your fresh veg, your fresh fruit, your low sin crisps, your hot chocolates, your jelly, whatever it is that you like to use or eat on the Slimming World plan. Just go and write that down on a shopping list. Then once you've done that, you've made the time and effort already to give yourself a plan. You've given yourself some kind of support there that you can look back on every single day and know exactly where you are. It's written down in front of you and you've got that support from a piece of paper. So yeah, go back to basics, go back to group, weekly meal plan, write your shopping list, so you're not going into the shop and you don't know what you're gonna get. Just write your shopping list. Also really helps with not overspending, because you've got your list, you know exactly what meals you're having, and it's all there black and white in front of you. So definitely just tick off your list when you're in the shop, make sure you've got everything, and then when you get home, your fridge, your freezer, your cupboards are full of everything you need to have an amazing week on plan. And then once you've had that amazing week on plan, you go to group, you go to your first weigh in, you see a nice result, and then you get that buzz and that mojo does come back. Sometimes the hardest thing is to take that step in starting. It's the anxiety, it's the apprehension, it's the, oh my god, what is that person gonna, what is my old Slimming World consultant gonna think of me because I haven't been in years? Or, oh my god, is there any members that are gonna be there that were there when I went years ago and they're gonna think, oh my god? Nobody cares. Genuinely, everybody is there for the same reason. Nobody's gonna judge you. Everybody's there to help you. Everybody, I can guarantee this, everybody can relate to you and how you're feeling. Nobody is going to bat an eyelid. Like, you are there selfishly for you. You are there for your journey. So of course you're there to help others and, you know, make friends and become part of like a community. But all those thoughts in your head that are pushing you potentially away from not going because you're worried about what other people think it's not true. So don't be put off by the thoughts in your head. Just go, make that first step, do that first week, and then once you feel amazing, you'll feel so many benefits from just having 1 week on plan. Go into group, you'll look forward to going to group, you'll stay to group, and you'll feel like a new Slimming World member again, which is just, personally for me, I've been giving it my all now for the past 4 weeks, and I know it doesn't sound like a long time, but I've been doing, in the past I've been doing like really good months, really bad months. I haven't kind of had a steady, but I just feel like now I really am confident, and I got a new book, I joined a new group, I've made friends there already, and I look forward to going every week, and I was missing that for so long. I think as well, like when you move house, I can move completely different locations, and my Slimming World group when I was doing it before was absolutely amazing. My consultant's phenomenal, and when you kind of have to leave that and try something new, you always compare a new group or a new feel to what you had before. And I guess I was using that as an excuse, like, oh, I'm never going to find anything as good, maybe this isn't for me, I'll try and do it from home, I'll weigh myself at home. And it was just, I was not accountable weighing myself at home. I'd miss weigh-ins at home because I just knew, you know, and it was just, I know you can relate, there's no point me going into that, but I just find for me personally, I have to go to a group every single week. I have to know that I am getting on scales and I am there to better myself. I have to go to group. I'm just not, I don't have that motivational power in myself to be able to do it from home, and that's just something personal to me. You might not need to go to a group and you might be able to religiously stick to it at home, but for me, I gain so much from going to a group. I gain knowledge, I gain recipe ideas, new sin ideas. I feel motivated and inspired by listening to other people's weeks and journeys and where they started and where they are now. I love going to help other people, and it's just a social aspect for me as well. I like to go for the social side of things. I go in, I get my cup of tea with my sweeteners, and I sit there and I get a raffle and I just get involved, and I feel like that is massive as well. If you're the type of person that goes to group to just weigh and then go home, yeah, that's great. You're still accountable, you're still going to group, you still know kind of where you are on your journey, but you're paying that money weekly. You might as well sit and take all of the benefits that you get from staying to image therapy. And if it's a week where you've had a bad week and you might have had a gain, it's so easy to just walk out those doors. I've done it an abundance of times, let me tell you. I've done it so many times. Oh, why am I going to sit there? Like, I've had a bad week. But that is the most important time that you need to stay to group, when you've had a week where you've fallen a bit off track or you've lost a bit of your mojo, and you need to sit there and feel inspired. Like, I cannot recommend that enough. As much as you don't want to, you just want to go home and start fresh again, just stay for that hour or half an hour, however long it is, and you'll walk up that room completely different feeling as to if you were to just walk out when you got off the scale. So again, that's another tip that kind of coincides with that. So yeah, back to basics, and hopefully that tip, that long tip, has given you some kind of, I guess, reasoning as to why going back to basics is really important. And then I've got another one here which I think is important, and setting yourself targets and stuff is great, 100%. Like setting yourself an end goal, I'd love to be here by da 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 da. That is great because it gives us something to work towards, but sometimes that can be super overwhelming. Like sometimes setting yourself a goal of I want to be so and so stone can just feel like a million miles away. And when you've got an unrealistic, maybe unrealistic, I don't know, depending on you and your personal journey and where you want to be, goal, you can feel like, well, I'm never going to get there. I'm literally never going to get there. That is my dream, but I'm never going to get there. Scrap that, scrap that, scrap that end goal, like scrap it. Like it's just sometimes just so like disheartening when you think, well, I was that this many years ago, so I want to be that again. And then you think, but I've got so and so to lose until I'm that again. And again, it just plays with your mind, not in the best way. So just scrap the goals, like scrap the end goals. And what I recommend is setting yourself like mini smaller goals, and not so much related to like a number on the scale, because as we all know, it isn't about that all the time. Yes, we go to Slimming World to see what the weight losses are, but you can gain so many positivities and so much more. You know that you are bettering yourself by the way you feel. So whether you feel less lethargic and you feel more energetic, and that'll all be down to what you're eating and what you're drinking. You know that your jeans might feel a bit more comfortable. So set yourself smaller, more realistic goals. Like for example, I want to lose half a stone in, you know, the next 2 months, or whatever it is that's personal to you. Obviously everybody's got different goals, but set yourself smaller, more regular goals throughout your journey rather than the end goal, so you don't feel so disheartened. And then once you reach those smaller, more achievable, more realistic goals, you'll feel a buzz because you've reached that, and then you want to reach the next, rather than feeling my goal is 400 years down the line, I'm never going to reach it. You feel disheartened, you lose connection with that goal, you feel like it's never possible, so I'm not even going to bother. Do you get what I mean? And then another one which has been massive to me, and I've always said it, I'm really, really guilty for this. And again, I feel like I need to rewatch this video after I put it live. But you know, when you compare yourself to others, like Instagram and TikTok now, I have to say, because TikTok is massive now, Facebook, I don't know, fellow members in your Slimming World group, you can't compare sometimes your journey to theirs, and you need to scrap that because everybody's body is different, everybody's journey is different. Some people have less weight to lose, some people have more weight to lose, some people don't want to lose weight and they just want to go to maintain, some people are at Target, some people are just into going for the social life. Like there's so many different reasons as to how people's journeys play out. And Meg age group and Susan might have lost 4 pounds that week, and you've ate the same as Susan, exactly the same as Susan, but you've, I don't know, maintained. But yeah, you can't help compare yourself to Susan who's lost 4 pounds but ate the same as you, but that's because Susan's body could be completely different. You know, it's just trying to really dissociate your journey with anybody else's journey, and just know that you're doing the best you can for you, and you just need to forget about what everybody else around you is doing and just really focus on yourself. And don't feel disheartened if you see said person losing this amount of weight in this amount of time compared to how you're doing, because you know in yourself your body's different, you're going to lose weight differently, and you've just got to focus on your body and not focus on what everybody else is doing. And that is really hard to do, especially when you see someone rocketing it down, or for example, and then you're maybe kind of not. It is really disheartening, and I've seen it and I've gone through that myself, and it's just kind of like going into your head, okay, but I'm different to that person and my journey is completely different and we've got completely different end goals, so I'm just not even gonna, you know, look or compare. I'm just going to focus on my path and getting to the end of that path of where I want to be. And now I'm going to actually, so I asked on my Instagram for some tips, and I'm going to read out a few. So I put on here, what do you do to get your mojo back? And I'm just going to read out a few tips because I know this video has been a lot. And some of these are quite sad, but I can relate. I've got people saying like, wish I could find mine, which I know a lot of you watching can relate to, and that's why you're watching this video. Someone's put still looking for it. Someone's put take it back to basics and eat lots of colourful fruit and veg. So like I was saying, that was like one of my second tips, going back to basics, filling your plate with loads of colour, loads of good stuff that you know is going to make you feel great inside and great outside, basically. Going back to the beginning and focusing on why you want to do it and small targets. That's literally what I've said. Another great one actually, Lauren has put, I get recipe books out and get some new ideas. So that's massive again for me. With Slimming World especially, you can find yourself eating the same things over and over again, eating the same healthy extras over and over again, and it becomes boring. It 100% becomes boring. So finding new recipes, getting the magazine when you go to group. There's so many amazing recipe books out there. Pinch a Nom, Two Chubby Cubs, Slim and Eat, Hairy Dieters. There's literally so many. This could kind of mean when you're sitting down writing your food plan, you're looking through all these recipe books and magazines for a new recipe to try, because that just keeps things exciting, it keeps things interesting, and you're not eating the same foods all the time. And I do feel like as well, when you're mixing it up quite a lot with what you're eating, that can benefit your weight loss as well, because your body doesn't get used to you eating the same thing over and over again. So giving yourself a variety of foods to try, foods to eat, you'll also find new recipes you love, and it just gives you that bit of excitement back again. Another person's put, I speak to my husband and ask him that I need support. So this is massive. Some of us need the support of our spouse, of our family, friends, because when you've got somebody else believing in you and supporting you, you're basically like a tag team and you're doing it together. And I know personally with me and my fiance, when because he's really into the gym, and he also, like, I guess has a specific diet that he likes to follow. When we are both on it and we ask for the support of one another, we fly together, and it's just going out of your way to just say, look, I need a little bit of support, and that could be down to having meals together and trying to do it together. Like your husband or your wife or your boyfriend, whoever it is you live with, your grandmother, whoever you live with, might not specifically want to follow a healthy lifestyle. They might want to eat what they want to eat. They might not have the issues with food that you might have, but they're never not going to support you. So even if you were to just say to them, look, this is what I'm doing, if you can just like give me a little bit of support, or just give me a little bit of a boost or a pick up or a well done here and there, just asking for the support, or letting people that you are around quite a lot know that you're doing it, you will see a change and a difference with the support that they give you, and then that will make you thrive, and it will make you want to do it even more, and it just becomes a little bit easier. Someone's put, which I can relate to as well, it sounds bad, but I took a little break and then changed groups, and now I'm just back. Like that, I feel like has been what I've done. I obviously tried not to take a break. I tried to do it, but I was doing it like 40% right, 60% not. And I guess I did take a break. It was a break of not doing it and not being in love with it. And then I took that break and realised, okay, it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I really need to do something about it. So starting a new group and becoming a new member and I'm back. I really feel like I'm back. So yeah, I can completely relate to that one, and that one is a great one. This one's really good by Chloe. Write off a bad day and start fresh the next. If you've had a bad day within your week, your whole week's not over. I need to listen to this. I need to listen to this, I really do. But if you've had a bad week, it's not even bad. This is something that I need to get into my head. Like, it's not a bad, like, no food is bad food. Like, you need food to survive. And yes, we may be going over our sins, or we may be having things that aren't food optimizing, that aren't on the Slimming World plan. But one meal out of 21 meals a week isn't gonna detriment your whole journey. It's not gonna ruin everything. And sometimes for me, I know, and I know loads of people are gonna relate. Some people might not relate, because when I speak about it, sometimes they're like, oh no, I can just stop. Say if I've had a meal off plan, which I hate using that terminology, but we use it, it's drilled in our heads. But say if I've had a meal that might not have been food optimizing, I will then see that as an excuse, not an excuse, but I will see that as an, right, well, that was on Thursday, and like, I might as well just eat what I want for the rest of the week because I had that one meal. No, like, no. Like, you're only gonna feel worse for doing that. Like, one meal is not gonna ruin, or one day is not gonna ruin all the effort you've put in for that other 6 days. So that's another tip that I try and drill into my head is, if you've had a day where you've been unable to food optimize, don't then turn that into the whole week. I love this as well. This one says, thinking I want this to be my day one rather than one day. Like, how true is that? Like, one day I'll get back into it, or one day things will work out. No, change that one day into day 1, and then day 2, and then day 3, and then day 4, and then once you repetitively do it, it becomes a habit and it's the norm, and then it becomes a healthy lifestyle change, and then you really get into the midst of it and you're loving it. So yeah, love that one. There's literally so many. I'll just read out a couple more because I know this video is so long, but hopefully this has just given you a little bit of to get back into the swing of things. Trying new things, eating different meals, going for a short break, 1 solid day on plan, 2 litres of water minimum, 10,000 steps, and the debloat the next day is amazing. And then you just want to repeat that. So for me, my little, I guess, daily routine at the moment is to food optimize 100%. I am rubbish with my water, like completely rubbish. So if I get 1.5 litres a day, that's brilliant, pat on the back for me, because I'm rubbish with it. I try not to apply too much pressure to myself with the water because I know I really struggle with that. But I guess it's something I'm hoping to conquer in the future. Then I do my 10,000 steps a day if I can. It's easy for me because I've got a dog, so we do 2 walks a day. So for me, the dog needs walking. Like, it's only fair to take the dog out, so I get my steps in quite easy. But I know I also don't have any responsibilities of children or any kind of restraints in that sense. So I know it's a lot easier for me to say, go and do your 10,000 steps. I know it's hard when you're busy parents, or you've got, you know, you're not able to do the 10,000 steps for health reasons. I know it's really hard to hear somebody say, just do them, because I know it's not as easy as that. But even if you just walk around the block in the morning, if you've got to spare 10 minutes, a spare 5 minutes, moving more when you can, doesn't mean you need to hit 10,000 steps every single day, but moving more when you can is going to be different to not moving at all. And that is going to help you mentally. Walking for me is mentally so good for my head. Like, I cannot express to you how good I feel when I come back from a walk or when I'm out walking. Like, it just does something to me. So even if it's a 10-minute walk around the block, or you go onto YouTube and you type in step workout from home, even if it's just something like that, it's going to make you feel good and you're never going to regret doing it. So yeah, just giving yourself a few little goals for the day that you want to achieve every single day, and just notice, write down how much better it's making you feel. Whether you're drinking your water and you feel like your skin's looking a bit more hydrated or a bit more radiant, whether you're doing your steps, which makes you feel a little bit more tired at night, meaning you can fall to sleep easier. It doesn't always have to be around how your clothes are fitting or what the scale says. It's really important to focus on other elements, such as your like mental health and how your physical appearance might be from doing these things that are benefiting you positively. And then the last one I'm going to end on is writing things down. When you write things down, you see it in black and white. And some people say to me, but like, I know what I'm eating, it's in my head, I know exactly what I'm eating. And I get that. Some people just don't see why writing it down is beneficial, and I completely can get that. Like, I get it. And some people, one, don't have the time to do it. But I cannot express to you enough, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, me writing it down every single day in my food diary has made a massive difference. I am seeing in black and white what I'm using my healthy extra A's on, what I'm using my healthy extra B's on, what I'm using my sins on. Am I having speed for my breakfast, lunch, dinner? Am I within my sins? What are my steps looking like? What's my mood looking like? These are all the things that I fill in on my food diary. It's the questions it asks me, like every day. It will ask me how much water I've had, how many steps I've done, was that the target I wanted to set, what's my mood been like. I also write in there how many sins I've had, and I use all highlights and colours and stickers just to make it a little bit more fun. And I genuinely look forward to, of an evening, once my day's finished, writing it all down and turning the page ready for the next day. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I share my daily food diaries every single night of what I've eaten. And also I think it's good because you can always go back to, if you've lost a bit of momentum, you've lost a bit of ideas, you don't know what to spend your sins on, you can always go back to a previous week or 6 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago what you were eating, and you can think, oh, I haven't had that in ages, I really enjoyed that day, I'm gonna repeat that day this week. And then you can add that day into your weekly plan this day, and it just keeps you more accountable. You can see written down in black and white what you're eating, whether you've had enough speed, whether you've hit your steps, whether you've had your water, and it just makes you feel a little bit more in control. And also with Slimming World, if you're struggling, you've hit a little bit of a plateau, you're not really getting the results you believe you deserve, food diaries are great to give to your consultant for them to look over, because they can really analyze everything you're having, and they might be able to pick on something that you might be doing wrong or that you could change and do to benefit your weight loss. So it's kind of a beneficial in every single way, and I cannot recommend writing it down enough. Please try it if you haven't. It makes the world of difference. But yeah, that is the video ended. I know it was a waffly one. I know that I probably repeated quite a few things, but that's kind of what I do when I'm passionate about talking about something. When I want to get my point across, I know I just go over and over again. But I really do hope this video has helped. I hope it has maybe given you a few ideas on what you can do to get your mojo back. I hope that you listening to me has just made you feel a little bit more excited in your belly. You've got that kind of like, yes, I'm gonna do some of those things. And it is hard. I completely can relate to that, and I don't find it as, not easy, but I don't find it as, I guess, easy as I used to. Like I never struggled as much as I struggle now back in the past. Like I really haven't. And I think sometimes just acknowledging that you've made a step forward, like acknowledging that, okay, I'm really struggling this time round, or I don't know what's changed, but I don't find it as, you know, as easy as I used to. And I think when you identify that, you kind of like don't beat yourself up about it anymore, and you just think, right, well, that's obviously where my life is now, that's where my head's at, but I'm going to do everything I can to try and get that mojo back, and to just try and better yourself every day. Every day is not going to be perfect, and that's absolutely fine, and you just need to learn to not beat yourself up if you haven't had a great week. But just changing things daily, small daily changes, can mean so much and can be so positive to your whole entire journey. So baby steps every single day, more realistic goals, going back to group, talking to your friends and family about it, trying new things, not being too hard on yourself, and just writing down how a day and what you've had has made you feel, and just looking back and just spending the time on putting the effort, because you're doing it for you, you're doing it for your health, your happiness, and everything in between. It is your journey, nobody else's, and people find it easier than others, and people find it a lot harder than others, but that doesn't matter, because it's how you find it, and it's going to be all about what you do personally to give yourself that support and really change for the better. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and please let me know if you want me to do more kind of videos like this. I know sometimes when you just hear it from somebody, this could be the video that's giving you that kick up the bum to just go back to basics and completely start fresh and just scratch everything you've ever learned in the past. And like, you could even be like, oh, what is Slimmer World? Like, you could act it like you don't even know the plan. Yeah, I will see you all in my next video, and I love you all so much, and we have 100% got this together. This is the journey. This is your new journey. When I eventually end this video, it's going to be the start of something amazing for you.